Hello and welcome to my new video series, The Wandering Gabboon. Join Reggie, Roxy and I as we explore the North Country and hit every nook and cranny searching for adventure. This year, on the 31st of July, I went and checked out Tahawus, the ghost town in the center of the Adirondacks. It's a very special place and definitely worth checking out. So come on along and see what we found. The town was originally named McIntyre after its wealthy financial backer. Archibald McIntyre realized that the Adirondacks were full of iron-rich ores and attempted to capitalize on those riches. So after building a series of failed blast furnaces, he finally built the final one, which remains standing today, and it was built in the mid-1800s. The town was established in 1826 and continued as an iron mining town until a series of catastrophes caused the McIntyre Iron Company to go out of business. So the town was abandoned in 1858. The old blast furnace looms 42 feet over the Upper Works Road. This structure was the nuclear reactor of its day, allowing men to create iron from stone. Krista was amazed by the enormity of the structure. The furnace was built after the town's name had been changed from McIntyre to Adirondack in the 1840s. Raw iron ore was carted to the top of the chimney and dropped in. Then it was crushed by dropping large stumps onto the ore multiple times until the ore was broken up into pebble-sized pieces. Okay, I am standing here. Basically, this is the location where the coal and the iron would have been brought across, and there would be a wooden expanse crossing over the road over to the furnace. And this is where they basically would be bringing everything. They're all doing it by hand, and then once they get over here, they're putting it on a cart and they're wheeling it across, and that's where they're dumping in the raw iron ore into the burner. And at the same time, somebody's stoking up the furnace from down below, creating a super hot, and that created the furnace. The actual furnace was stoked with charcoal from below, and the fire heated the air to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. A water wheel powered by the Hudson River created pressure that pumped the superheated air onto the ore, melting it and creating iron ingot. Here is a bird's eye view of what the setup looked like back in the 1800s during its heyday. Air receiving unit and gears from the water wheel still remain today. During our trip to Tahawus at the blast furnace, we found this large piece of stone, and you can just feel how solid and dense it is, and this is what they were looking for. It's loaded with iron ore, this piece of rock, and what they did was they would take this piece of rock and they'd take thousands and thousands of tons of it, and they'd put it in, carry it over, and they're doing this all by hand, and they're dumping it into this monster blast furnace that's 42 feet tall. They're burning fire, they're burning the charcoal, creating a temperature, a blast of hot air of over 2,500 degrees that's blasting on this, and that melted the iron and made it molten. And then they would open the stopgap, and the molten iron would come out and basically pour into these forms, and as it cooled, it formed pig iron. And that pig iron was what they were looking for. So what I'm holding in my hand is a piece of history. Unfortunately, in 1858, catastrophe struck. First, a flash flood destroyed the train trestle that was used to ship the iron from the town. Second, the ore turned out to be less pure than originally hoped for. And third, McIntyre passed away. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So the town was deserted for the next 19 years. From 1876 through 1947, the town was reborn and named Tahawus, and it became a private club for well-to-do families from the eastern cities. You can still see where several of the old buildings stood when you go to visit. The most famous guest at Camp Tahawus was Vice President Theodore Roosevelt. He was staying at the McNulty cottage when he received word that President McKinley was shot. If you go to visit Tahawus, you will find that the McNulty cottage is the only building still standing. I am standing in front of the McLaughlin cottage. This is the cottage where Teddy Roosevelt was staying in 1901 when he found out that President McKinley was shot. And he basically started heading to Buffalo, and as he was going to Buffalo, President McKinley died, and Teddy Roosevelt, in essence, became president at this point. But this is where he was staying when he got the news. During the Cold War, a titanium mining operation was in effect at Tahawus and ran from 1947 through 1963. After that, the town was abandoned for the final time. To get to Tahawus, you have to travel down, Highway 28N through the town of Newcomb, and then when you get to the Blue Ridge Road, take a left on the Blue Ridge Road, heading back toward the Northway, toward North Hudson, and the Tahawus Road is only 2 or 3 miles from there. Once you get on the Tahawus Road, you travel maybe 5 or 6 miles. The road's decent, it's blacktop, it actually has a center line. And then when you get to the actual mine, then you take a left and you go up the Upper Works Road, and that takes you right to the blast furnace, and then about a mile later it takes you to the old deserted town. When I went, a lot of the buildings had been torn down. They were actually working on them while we were there. They're clearing away a lot of the old buildings. They're leaving the chimneys. They are leaving the McLaughlin cottage. So some of the history is up for sure. They have a lot of nice educational boards for you to read, signs with information on, which you've seen a lot on this video. So yeah, check it out. It's a great adventure. It's in the heart of the Adirondacks. It's in the town of Newcomb, which is I think it's Essex County, if I remember right. We just left Hamilton County and got into Essex. Yeah, so it's a great day trip. Take the family, go enjoy. Another thing we noticed was they had to cut all the stones by hand, and then they had to lug them all in. That had to be very energy intensive job. It's quite amazing, so you should really check it out. It's part of the history of the North Country and the history of America. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon on The Wandering Gabboon. Take care. I would like to honor a North Country veteran with each episode of The Wandering Gabboon. Today I honor my dad, Corporal Leland Kendall Mansky of the 1944-45 Army Air Force. My father was stationed on Tinian Island during World War II and flew 23 missions over Japan on the B-29, the Eddie Allen II. I found these iconic pictures of the Eddie Allen II as it was heading off to Japan during World War II. And much to my surprise, I found that my dad was actually on the plane when this picture was taken. Thanks to all who've served our country.